Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining us on today for the Minding Your Money podcast. We're excited to be here on today. I'm
Yes,
Deb
we are.
Howard, your abundant life coach. I help just amazing folks, entrepreneurs, faith based leaders overcome limiting beliefs about money. And today we actually got a topic about money. Love, introduce yourself. Tell them about
Hell,
what we're doing.
hey, hello, Deb, and welcome. I am so excited to be here today as well. I am Love Pate, the anointed architect and mindset mentor. I help female leaders of faith shift their mindset in order to build structurally sound connections to their true identity so that through a strong sense of value, they can see a clear pathway from their now and to the next evolution of themselves. I am so excited about our topic today, Deb. Looking forward to it. So let's get started.
Let's get it, y'all. Yeah, you saw the topic right. Do you have a fear of money? That's what we're talking about today. And I thought it was good, for us to dive into this topic because money is such a big part of our life, number one. And number two, I was looking at some things over the weekend about there's actually, believe it or not, a real phobia, a fear of money, but we're not talking about that. We are talking about some of the things that sometimes stand in the way of us really dealing with our finances. When we talk about a fear of money, I can tell you personally, from my personal experience, one of the things that I really dealt with in the past, love, was just not even wanting to look at my financial situation. Like, let me just let the paycheck go in the bank, and what happens happens. I know what I gotta pay. I got a roundabout estimate in my head, but I really didn't want to deal with it, and it brought anxiety, right? And we know anxiety, is a form of fear.
Yeah.
So it brought me a lot of anxiety, even to just go through my bank account and even having a 401k at my job. I wouldn't even look at that. I just avoided it altogether. And I think for me, it was because I knew I didn't have enough.
There
I
you go.
knew that. I knew I wasn't making enough money for all the bills that I had, and so I think that anxiety and fear of acknowledging that on a regular basis. Maybe that's what it was. Having to deal with that on a regular basis. So I didn't really see the value in, yeah, in looking at my money. I mean, what you think about that, love? Because this the mindset coach here, y'all. So
You know, when you gave me the topic and I started thinking about it, I'm like, is it really a fear or is it a miseducation? And I think it's if we're really honest about it, I believe the quote unquote phobias that we have created as it relates to money has stemmed from the fact of the lack of education about the rules of engagement of how
mm,
money really works and how money can really work for us.
hmm
Well, you know, many of us have dealt with the fact of not having enough, right? Yeah, there is a fear of, oh, I can't feed my kids. Oh, my lights are going to go off. Or certain things are going to happen. And the anxiety that comes with it. But I have to believe that those fears would subside if we had the real education of how I can do more with little, right?
yeah,
How I can learn how to make my money work for me versus me consistently or continuing to live a life where I work for my money. And so I just believe that a lot of this can really be circumvented with education and real education. Like, not education that's talking over top of people's heads. Like, we got to
mhm,
get down, we might have to take it back to the basics. Let's talk dollars and cents. I know we have the big terminology, but maybe we have to dummy it down so that people can understand how to make their dollars work for them. And that's what I believe. And I understand about not. I don't think I've looked at my 401k. To be really honest, right? I know they're taking a lot out of my check. I know that. And but there definitely was a time you just estimated and then you created these I would call them like creative tactics on how you got
Mhm.
everybody paid, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and or how you extended one to make sure you covered the other. And not realizing that though you think it's making the situation better, it's making it worse because the interest is still piling up. You're not paying it off. It's not helping your credit getting better. And so I just really feel like in this time to really help our people move beyond the poverty mindset, move beyond this lack. It's just really education. And that's where you come in, dear.
Absolutely. I think it is a journey. It's a journey. And I think you're right. It takes education, it takes a shift in our mindset, it takes us really understanding. I think that wealth is number one, that we have it. Right, because if you're watching this live or this recording of this video, you have some level of wealth,
Right.
okay? Because you have a phone, you have, a computer, you have something, right? And so I think understanding that, right, that number one, we've been entrusted with this wealth by God. Now let me put up my little one scripture because I think it says a lot to us about our responsibility. If you have not been trustworthy in handling just worldly wealth, just money, who gonna trust you with the real riches, with the true riches, with spiritual riches? Come on now. And I
Right.
think sometimes we have to understand that we are the stewards of what we have. Whatever God has given us, whatever level, however amount, it doesn't matter, we have been entrusted to manage that, right?
Right.
And the only way for us to be able to do that is that we got to know where it is. Look, money
Right.
is like children; it's gonna go all over the place. Okay, so
Or
you gotta watch
it'll
your
disappear.
kids.
It'll disappear if you don't watch it and have some
Right?
real boundaries
They
with it.
will. And,
Yeah.
and you know, the funny thing is, we've all experienced that, right? We've all experienced a time where I thought I had this amount of money or I got paid, and before I can look up, before Monday morning, now wait a minute. Where did that money go? I
Right.
should have had X amount. Because if
Right.
we're not diligent, if we are not, really managing, right? Telling money what to do, not letting money tell us what to do,
Right.
then it will do its own thing. Like kids, child, my kids would do. Listen, I know y'all. Some of y'all got kids too. Y'all know you'll watch them churn, especially when they're younger. They'll run all over the place,
Right.
go hide under stuff. You looking for it, and that right, it's not really managing, right?
Right.
When we allow things to just happen, right? And so
Right.
we have to. So to first, that's first, right? We got to be able to look at our money.
Right. I think also I did an acronym for us, okay? All right, about fear. And I said financial education aligns riches or aligns rewards. The idea is that when I'm speaking about education, not just okay, I'm going to school and I'm going, do the econ which everybody loved econ, right? You know,
Mm,
um, but I'm talking about sitting down and really studying by habits, right? A
mhm,
lot of the havoc in our finances and in our wealth building, or a lot of the hindrances due to lack of understanding about our habits. We have
mhm,
certain habits that contribute to us remaining impoverished, right?
mhm,
Or not building wealth. And so I think that's one of the things that we have to begin to look at. Not just do I understand all the terminology about money, because you can understand all the terminology and have bad habits and still be broke.
mhm,
Okay. So truly, really looking at my habits, but then also looking at, certain hardships. There are certain hardships that we may have experienced in life that created what I call, it's like when you come out of the war and you have these tremors, you know what I'm saying, like
mhm,
PTSD. It
mhm,
creates certain like remembrances in us that makes us revert back to like old ways, because we experience like a loss of a house, or we experience, you know what I'm saying, a partner that was helping us grow, or helping us build, helping us pay for things, and then we lose that partner, and then we're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? I don't even understand how this house works because he ran everything or she ran everything, right? So there are certain hardships that we really have to look at as well. So I just think the biggest thing is, in this whole thing of overcoming the fear, is putting the right things in place that can help you get an understanding of not just how money works in excuse me, how money works in generally, but how your money is working.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely starts with we do have to identify habits. That's the biggest thing. And cuz it's really our habits that are driving how we spend.
Exactly.
And our wealth problem is not usually, right? Listen, the biggest problem is not getting more money, right? We do need more money. You do need to, maybe you need to earn more money depending on your income. But many times it's how we manage that money, the
Right.
decisions that we make on a regular basis. So you're absolutely right. Habits, you know, have to be reviewed and, getting to the root cause of that. And that's where the mindset work comes, right?
Right.
Why are we making these choices?
Yes.
What is it that is triggered, in me to buy or to shop or to do whatever? What emotion is tied to that?
Right.
Um, these are things that I still look at in my life,
Right.
for in other areas, but definitely I had to look at that, even from childhood, right? Because our fear, our apprehension, our anxiety around money, money can't beat us up. So
Well,
I
it
just thought I'd
can
throw that out
maybe.
there.
It,
It's
it
not a physical
it
fear,
might not be a
right?
physical beating, but it can be some other whoopings as well as
I mean, the people you owe might not, but
them bill
but
collectors calling show sound like feel like a beating, but
but oh my gosh, yeah. So, but in the big picture, right?
right.
What we are fearing is really our own decisions,
Yeah.
right? It's having to deal with the choices that I made, and no judgment about choices.
Right.
It's just your choice.
Right.
That's all it is. I talk about this with my clients all the time. It's your choice how you want to spend your money. But at the same time, you also then need the courage to deal with how that's going to affect, right? The ripple effect that it's going to have, on your finances and
Yeah.
on your goals, right? So
Right.
that's why goals are so important. We've talked a lot about goals this year, because you got to know where you're going. And so to overcome some of these fears, right?
Right.
We've been alluding to it, but I'm finna summarize it.
All
So
right.
one action step that you can take if you're listening to this and you are that person that I was that was afraid to look every day. This is your action step every day. I want you to go and look at your bank account. I want
Yes.
you to check your balance. Your bank account, if you got credit card statement, listen, do not just I know a lot of y'all might have your credit card payments on automatic, automatic payment. I want you to go in and that's computer every month when that bill comes or open up that letter and look at your statement. Right? Look at it. Look at the interest rate that you're paying on that credit card. Look at your balance. Now, because of laws that have passed, most of the credit card companies, if not all, they all should be doing it, have an estimate of how long it will take you to pay off that card if you only pay the minimum balance. All right? Look at it. I'm not asking you to do anything. I want you to make it a habit of knowing where you are every day. If you have a bank account, check your balance every day.
Right.
Every day. Go in and look and see how it is changing every day. Even if it's negative, right? I'm not, like I said, nothing for you to do but look at it. Because what we've got to do is stop treating money like the enemy.
Right.
We've got to
I agree.
stop looking at money as a source of our anxiety. It's not the source.
Right.
I'm the source of my anxiety. Ah!
That's a hard one.
My choices, right? My decisions are the source of my
Right.
anxiety. Money is not.
Right.
So I am going to develop a better relationship with money. This is how we overcome any fear, right? You face it. So we're going to face the decisions that we're making. We're going to
Correct.
look at it every day. And I'm asking you to do it every day because if you're not doing it at all, once a week, not going to do it. You need to change how you are relating to your bank account, to your credit cards, to your bills. Told somebody else this, a friend of mine, and she always reminds me of it. That why you mad because you got to pay a bill that you agreed to pay? You borrowed the money or you bought the item. Why you mad about it? Okay, because that is an attitude that we have towards money, right?
Right.
It's antagonistic. Don't be
Right.
mad.
Right.
Be happy. Listen, thank God I have the funds to make this payment. Thank God that you have given me resources so that I can keep my word.
Right. And if to add on to what you're saying, right? Looking at your bank account, I would also say that you need to have a blueprint for what you want your money to do. How you want your money, like you got to have plans for your money, like assignment. A lot of times we're wanting God to give us more, but we don't even have nowhere for him to bring the provision.
Mhm,
You got to really sit down and say, what do I want my money to do? How do I want my money to work for me? And then, as you talked about, restoring or having the right perspective, relationship with money, it's key. Do I see money as a source of trauma, or do I see money as a tool?
mhm,
Right? A tool to get to the things that I desire or to be able
mhm,
to do the things that God has destined for me. But a
mhm,
lot of times it can't be a tool because we don't view it correctly. And so, outside of looking at where it is, right? How do you
mhm,
measure if you're meeting your goals? If you
mhm,
don't look at your bank account, if you don't see, is my money doing what I created it to do, right? We have shortfalls because we didn't look at it. Oftentimes you can see if your account is not going, if your money is not doing what it's supposed to do, if you don't have enough, if
mhm,
you are constantly and consistently looking at it. But it also allows you to be flexible, to shift. Most of the time, the anxiety and trauma comes from the fact that we are operating in the ninth hour. They
mhm,
about to take the car. They
mhm,
about to shut off the lights, because we don't have a real plan for how our money should work throughout the month. And then once we realize, okay, this is the nature, maybe I don't have enough, then how can I use what I have to make more? But a lot of times we don't even know where we can cut, what we can use to invest to work
mhm,
for us, because we're just living, as you say, like by the seat of our pants. And in the I have approximately
mhm.
$90, but it might be $75. You know what I'm saying? But that makes a difference when you go swipe that card and the bill is 85 and you got 75, right?
I love that, and I love though that information, love. I love how you broke that down because I think it is important, and I think the main thing is all of that, right? Knowing where you are daily, reviewing that, having goals, checking your habits. It's all about changing your perspective, right, on how I look at my wealth, how I look at money, how I look at even my responsibility with what God has placed in my
Right,
hands. I'm not going to ignore it, right? And I know I'm talking to believers, and if you're a good believer, I'm sure you don't ignore the Bible.
right,
Even though there's some things in that word that might, hurt at times. It might tickle at times. It might not be always, medicine that you want to take. But it's our responsibility to manage that word in our
yeah,
life.
yeah,
So we have to read it. We have to look at it. We have to hear the sermon from pastor, right? Or prophet or apostle, whoever your leader is, right? We have to listen because I have to manage my intake. Come on, Doc. So it's the same. Money, you're right, is a tool. It's not our enemy. It's not working against us. It's a tool.
right.
We're the boss of it. And so, yeah, we have to take some steps. But today, got to keep it simple. So just take some small steps because
Yes,
it's a journey. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that one day I woke up and got it all together. Okay, I listen. It was a journey, right? And so I want, and not to say it has to be a long journey, but you do need to take the time that you need in order, number one, to change how you view your wealth, your money. So that's what I'm gonna leave you with, right? Just look every day. Just look at your account, right? And by watching it, as Love was alluding to, it's going to cause you to look at your choices more. If you're looking at your bank account, you seeing it go down every day, you're gonna think twice before you stop by Starbucks. Like, wait a minute, how's this gonna affect my money? Right? And that's the first step, right? Making choices with that in mind. How is this gonna affect my goal?
Yeah.
Instead of, like me, right, just being spontaneous. You only live once. Child, you don't need to live once in poverty though. You don't need your whole life to be a struggle, right? With some occasional joys, because you didn't splurged. And listen, I've been there, done that, Love.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, right? Struggling all the time with an occasional, I'm just gonna go on and do this because I'll say this, because we lose hope.
Yeah. That
We
things are
don't
going to
think that we
change.
can get it in order, so we lose hope. And I'm just gonna go ahead and spend this. I know it's the light bill money, but I figured out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna buy this for myself. I'm gonna treat myself. Right. So I want us to live in a place where we can have what we want. God wants us to have the desires of our heart, but also we're able to say, I'm a good steward because I'm managing what God has given us. Listen, y'all, thanks for joining today. Thanks, Zandra, Ebony. Thanks those that have come in and gone out. Love, I'm gonna give you the final words. Let's get out of here, girl.
All right. So if I was to give you anything, is that we need to master our money so that our money doesn't become a master of us. The idea here is that we need to put in place habits, right? That teach us how to be good managers and stewards over our money, so that we can create the appropriate disciplines to allow us to live on the next level of life that God has already destined for us. So I thank you for joining us today. Hey, Dave, love it.
Thanks, Love. Thank you guys for joining me. And Love, for our Minding Your Money podcast. We're here bi-weekly, twice a month, right? You watch the page for the announcement. Let me not commit to a time, child, because y'all already see around. We were around 6:30 today. Central Standard Time. But the replay is always here on Facebook, on YouTube. You can find the replay also. And listen, let me not leave without telling you about our summit coming up October 19th, 2024, Kingdom Wealth Warriors Summit, Empowered to Prosper. Listen, it's time to prosper. Y'all see, I'll be getting excited. It's time for us to prosper and to take on, right, the assignment of building up the kingdom of heaven here on earth. How about that?
Come
With
on.
wealth, because you know what? It takes money.
It
It
takes
does
money.
take money, Love. It
It takes money.
it takes money. Okay. So we're gonna learn, we're gonna continue to elevate ourselves so that we can take on the mandate that God has given us. So listen, thank you all for joining today. And you know what I'm gonna say? Go have your most abundant day. See ya.